welcome to today's videos. We cover about 11 teams that made roster moves since summer ended, spring ended, and this is only part one. So in this video, we have CBLOL, LCS, LCP, and these are the official moves, not necessarily what's rumored, what's been like half-ass announced by media outlets. If the team hasn't put it on Leaguepedia, I really haven't talked about it too much on these boards. So keep that in mind. Of course, the first team I have are in bright green, and the light is making it washed out. So Loud are first. Loud made significant moves. They actually had an interesting roster reveal. Unfortunately, we did have rumors as to what was occurring, but it is nice to have a roster reveal video. Give your sponsors some views, and etc. It's one of the biggest reasons why I think the media outlets are kind of fucking these teams a little bit. Trying to sneak out these rumors and roster decisions and shit. Like, it'd be really nice for roster reveal videos to actually be a surprise. So, Young Jay, Envy, and Bull are out. Sinatra, Kaze, Rebello are in. This is a very different direction than what Loud's been for many years, really. So, because you think about it, constantly having some sort of import jungler, whether it was Croc, whether it was Griffin. I know they had Sheeny for a little while, but for the most part it has been imports, right? 80 carry, you think of Root, you think of Bull, consistently having import 80 carries, and this roster is not like that. So Young Jay was let go. He had a 2.4 KDA, 70 KP, 7.1 CS per minute. We compare that to Sinatra, who's playing at a lower level of play, so keep that in mind, but he's a very young player, so they're building for the future here. You get a lot younger with Sinatra and Rebello on this team. So very similar stats. KDA is better, but you're at a lower level of play. I don't expect you to die if you're going to get a promotion. In terms of damage, though, very different players. Sinatra a little more aggressive. We see a 1.35 damage divided by gold compared to Young Jay. Similar impact for what their teams did. Sinatra on a better team compared to his level than Young Jay. Vision, Sinatra slightly better. We'd like that to be even better than 5 vision score per ward placed, of course. Early game, Young Jay was getting... You don't want your imports to be behind. You really don't. You only get 2 slots. You better use them for players that are not going to be behind in the early game. And Young Jay was behind 225 gold, 257 XP. Sinatra, I had 396 gold, 402 XP. Let's even say this. Sinatra would have a game he'd go even, possibly. I didn't watch him play. And then could have a game, statistically had a game up 800 gold, which is a diffie in the jungle, right? So even if he drops off to an even rating, he has to drop 600 gold, 620 gold or so, from where he was in, I imagine, CD. I don't think he played in LRS. He'd have to drop that much gold in CBLOL, and I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think it's an upgrade in the early game. Solo kills, he's opportunistic. He had 1 every 4 games. Young Jay 1 every 8. A little wider champion usage. In mid lane, Kaze, Envy. Kaze is better than Envy. Envy, he's better than Mago, but that's just being better than Grevthar. So really, theoretically, you were like scraping for a mid. With Kaze, you're getting a mid that's very opportunistic, has pop-off moments, which I don't try and overvalue, but he can stay even in the laning phase due to this. KDA is pretty similar, but we see a little higher KP for Kaze. Remember, he was with Red Candids in spring. 8.7 CS, 8.4 CS, very similar damage profiles. Envy providing a little more damage for Loud than Kaze for Red, because Red were a better team, a little more aggressive, in general. Vision, efficiency, close. We see the gold difference, though. These guys played at the same level. Kaze was ahead 75 gold, Envy behind 170. You say, oh, well, the teams around them. Red had moving pieces all over the place. Loud did as well. In my opinion, really, the teams were in pretty even states, to be honest with you. In terms of Solo kills even, both 1 to 4, 1 to 3 games or so. Champion usage, Kaze a little more, about 2 every 5 games. Envy less than 1 in every 3. I think that's an upgrade. Rebello and Bull, I like Rebello over Bull. Bull does provide a little different vibe than most AD carries. I think about him when he joined KDF, and they say, how he is such a shot caller on that team. Now, this team, it's hard to have your Korean AD carry be your shot caller. It's tough. I doubt they did that. I don't listen to comms, but I doubt they would have made that decision. But Rebello's stats are a mix of Tier 1, Tier 2. But KDA, pretty close. KP, close. Bull had a little higher farm. Rebello, a little higher ROI. You mix that in. Pretty even. Share differential, close. But Bull was behind a lot of gold. 400 gold. You can't have your AD carry behind that much. At that point, you're cutting your losses. You're bringing in a kid, negative 172. But at least you're getting younger. So there's potential there for growth, more so than an older player. I get into this argument all the time, but I really just think if you're going to hitch your wagon to a player, you're better off hitching it to a younger player than an older player. Your investment can last longer in that player just by default. If players can play till 40, if you want to say a player can play till 40, well, the younger player can play X amount of years more than the older player. Theoretically, if you carry that logic all the way. Champions played, Rebello played a significant amount more of champions. So I like what Loud did. They got younger. That's huge. Pain swapped out the bot lane. Curry, Trigger are out, and Seos and Henna are in. So Henna now, and I'm not going to call Brazil a major region. I don't know why people are trying to do that right now. When you can't win any series at MSI First Stand Worlds, pretty much, let's stop doing that. Just stop doing that. So, LCP struggling as well, but Team Secret Wales beat Top Esports, right? So they won a series against a team that obviously is considered strong, right? So Henna now only needs like the LEC still to be a member in the 4 major regions. He played with the LPL last split, Ultra Prime. He played in the LCK with Bro, and I believe Sandbox Gaming or Fear X at the time. Live Sandbox, excuse me. He's playing the LCS with Dignitas. But support is definitely the stronger half of this bot lane. Curry is out, 2-7 KDA, 74 KP. 3 out of every 4 kills for Pain. He was very active, talked very highly when he's alongside Cheeton. Cheeton obviously has his off the rift issues, and that causes all this shitstorm that is with Pain and the retirement home that I thought was going to happen before the season, and it did not get younger with these moves. It is still in a state of retirement outside of Bull. So that is a thing. But KDA sales, you see 2.1. He played with Shopify. Shopify sucked. Sales is probably, a lot of people said he was the best support in Brazil before he joined the LCS. I thought he had solid metrics. We look here. He was very aggressive, 0.96 damage divided by gold. He got his damage in. Curry, no slouch, but you see here, 243, 186. That's huge. That is a huge difference. Sales knows where to place his words. If he's placing vision, he's going to get effective vision, and that's huge. Hopefully Pain can play around it for their sake. Laning, very similar. Champions played very similar in terms of usage. Trigger out for Henna. I don't think Trigger played terrible, honestly, and what was a shit show. He was one of the better statistical 80 carries in spring. But compared to Henna, and Henna played in LPL lower group. Actually, Ultra Prime are done for the season. Them and Oh My God are both done. So, Henna more active with Ultra Prime. You see 2 out of every 3 kills he was present for. Is that crazy? No, but 58 KP is very low for an 80 carry. Trigger on an island, essentially, involved in nearly half of the team's kills, which means it's bad for an 80 carry. Resulted in high CS, but did deal a lot of damage. When he was present, 1.7 damage divided by gold and a 4-5 share differential. So he did pack a punch. Something that Henna really didn't do all that much with a 1-4-1. Ultra Prime sucked, but he was definitely part of why they sucked. Vision efficiency, trigger better. Look at the gold difference here. Henna behind 570 gold alongside Zhao. He had his hands full. Trigger, not doing that well. I mean, you see 209, 267. Keep in mind, Curry's numbers are a little screwed up because of playing with Marvin in, I think it was Marvin and Winter, in XP behind. We see solo kills, 1 every 8 games. Champions played, though, both playing a lot of champions in their limited time. Fluxo, Curdy is out. Zoth Bay is in. Curdy is a player with a lot of potential. I did like some of his games with Fluxo, but in the end, he did struggle. And Zoth Bay has dominated Latin America. Some people getting pissed that Fluxo only has 1 Brazilian. The fact of the matter is, if Fluxo are just signing the best players available, they're signing the best players available. You should want your teams to be good instead of caring about what the players look like. Hot take, but that's my opinion. So Curdy, 2 KDA, Zoth Bay obviously dominating, lower level of play. See, both involved similarly, only in half of their team's kills. Zoth Bay, 8.5 CS per minute. And that, 1.84, 1.54. Big difference there, right? Because he has lower farm. By default, he has a lower amount of gold, like as a foundation, right? Because obviously farm is the easiest way to get gold. So, you look at that, and he has a lower ROI. So it goes to show just how much damage Zoth Bay's been dealing, because his ROI is insane at 1.84. The share differential, packing a bigger punch for the team at 3.3, offers a carry threat for Fluxo. In the top lane, dominated 764 gold ahead, behind 512 for Curdy. Curdy needed to be sat, and that is what happened. He's been sent back to Loud. See, XP difference is huge. Zoth Bay actually had 24 solo kills in 21 games, or 27 and 24, which is insane. Curdy, though, you see 1 and 3. That is those mechanics I've been talking about. I think the player is good. He just needs more time. 1 champion in 3 games. High champion usage out of Zoth Bay. You're looking at like played 11 champions, 24 games or something. Levitton, for some reason, swapped out bot lane. Snaker and Toplop are out. Strench and Shiku are in, and it is a downgrade in my opinion. So, Snaker and Strench, Strench isn't dying, which is nice. Shiku doesn't die either. That's nice, but got to think of the rest of the team here. DeVos in top lane, I think, has potential for sure. He's a very good player. Bookie, solid young player as well. Enga, but the bot lane duo, I don't like this decision. You look at the slightly higher farm for Snaker, so lower ROI, like I just said, but in the reverse. So he does deal damage, but really, I don't think you're getting that much different of a player. Better vision. But Snaker and Toplop, up 350, actually, 469 gold on average at 15 minutes. Keep in mind, Toplop does get affected by Sayo a bit, but these numbers are pretty high. Solo kills 1 in 3 games, better than 1 champion every other game. Strench and Shiku were ahead 200 gold at 15 minutes in the lower level of play, but still, I think it is a downgrade. We look at Toplop here. Both players very aggressive. Obviously, Toplop died more, similar to Snaker. These guys are at a higher level of play. Vision, though, we see Toplop better than Shiku. These stats are whatever. Champion usage, Shiku did play more. I don't know why they made this move. I'm sure there is a reason for it, but I don't know it, and it isn't statistically sound, at least based on these broad numbers here. So now on to the rest. Okay, so a little bit more CBLOL up here, LCS, LCP. So VKS signed Yeskla in place of Sayo. I don't know why this move was made. I saw Smiley put out a video. VKS obviously is a team that does, reach out from time to time, but I don't think this move is, there had to have been an 80 carry that you could have found that wasn't coming off his couch. And, really, like, coming off of his couch. Yeskla didn't play this season thus far. That's not to say because a player didn't play this year, they're absolutely not, like, an option, but what the fuck? Like, there's got to be somebody else here. I get it helps pairing with younger players, You see obviously a very young top laner. I believe Zekis is younger. But, I mean, it's tough. This team is not young in general. It's probably one of the older teams. So, Seo, Yeskla, we see Yeskla's stats from last season. Obviously, okay, didn't die. 61 ROI, but an 8.6 CS per minute. I don't know if he played 5 or 6 Senna games out of 50 or something, which kills his farm, but his farm wasn't very good. He's spotting Seo, 1 CS per minute. Damage output similar in terms of aggression relative to farm, but because of the low farm, you got to imagine Seo is dealing that much more damage. Vision, whatever, big vision changes in last offseason. Seo ahead at 15 minutes a bit. I don't like this move. It does not make sense. If you want to build for the future, you go sign Marvin. You go get somebody that's 20 years old and throw him out there and see what happens. Because Scamber, I don't think, is young alongside Yeskla, so you could put a experienced support alongside your AD carry. I don't love it at all. Red have brought up Fu because Kaze is gone. Fu, I thought, did well with Fluxo last season, got benched. 3-3 KDA, we see low KP, so not overly involved, is farming instead at 9.2. Damage, pretty standard. Vision, standard. Ahead about 70 gold at 15 minutes, 200 XP. 8 solo kills in 14 games, so opportunistic. Does have 8 champions played, or is that maybe had 14 games, probably had 8 solo kills, 9 champions played. So, I mean, I think that's a solid move. I don't think it's a downgrade, upgrade. We'll see what happens. LCS, LYON, Castle is gone. Castle barely played. People are giving LYON a lot of shit for signing Castle. I do wonder why the fuck did you sign Castle? And people are like, oh, it's unfortunate for Castle. I think Castle did want out because he wasn't playing. And maybe, who knows how the scrims transpired. Did Castle fit onto that team? Theoretically, with the way that team is kind of built, it is possible he didn't. But unfortunately, he's teamless right now, and he should have a team. He should have a team. Theoretically, he should even be on Dig. People might not like that because they went with an NA rookie, and just like I said about CBLOL, we should be concerned with having the best players on the team, not necessarily care what they look like or where they're from, but for some reason people do care about that. It's kind of the horseshoe theory we've been seeing lately with this whole import deal. It gets kind of weird when we're worried about people taking our jobs, that sort of deal, and then taking these jobs. It gets very weird. You're toting the line here when you take issue with imports, I believe. So, Castle, KDA, whatever. Very strong. 8.4 CS per minute. Very high damage output. Offers that carry threat in top lane. And honestly, with Dignitas, that would have been huge. That would have been huge. This kid does deal a lot of damage. So, that happened. So, I'm not saying that it's not possible that he can't do the same thing. It's just, theoretically, I do think Castle should be on a team. So, a lot of damage, 5% share differential, very good vision efficiency, 250 gold ahead of 15 minutes on a tire fire with Disguised. Obviously, it did okay in winter, but in spring did not do much better. Solo kills 2 every 5 games, 2 new champions every 5 games. Dignitas dropped Photon for Denather. Photon, this season, really statistically took a drop. We see, obviously, lower level of play, but better numbers here, lower farm, but very high damage divided by gold. Kid is aggressive, and he's going to need to be at this level of play. Vision, both solid, but behind 331 gold. That ain't going to cut it. Up 161, 65, so he is positive, and that is what matters. Solo kills, he does have 2 every 3 games, 1 out of every 4, a little less champion usage, but that's okay. Am I saying the kid shouldn't be on a team? In general, no. I just really don't like when people jump to the import versus, domestic player situation. That is weird. That's a weird thing to talk about, in my opinion. You have to be careful on how you talk about it. I feel like a lot of people do not traverse that subject in a way that actually clears them of one not thinking that they may be kind of fucked up, in my opinion. So that's the thing. Shopify, Zazel, older player. Had a lot of people upset with me because I said Zazel probably, like you just said, but Zazel's obviously a domestic player. Some said Minu. Shit, there's a few supports we talked about, and they're all escaping me now. Trying to think. I think I ended up making a tweet about like prospects from North America, and I haven't had one in a couple of years. But I did have Lucio when he did come up, and other supports as well along the way that may not got an opportunity. I had arguments. I don't think that this really matters. Shopify are they're not going to do that good in my opinion anyways. So 6 KDA, 75 KP, 88 ROI. But I will say this, actually, same thing I said about Yeskla. Zazel is coming off his couch, so you should have signed someone else. Vision, okay, up. I mean, lower level of play, and Zazel is a player that should dominate that level of play. So I'm not surprised by that. Alongside Bevoy, this team is old as fuck. It is outside of Zinni, obviously. I don't think they're making a run either way. So just went with a young support. Cloud9. 7-man roster right now. So APA is being pushed by Loki. Now Loki has returned to the team after leaving last season. Loki at the time, not a player that I wanted to have over Saint at the time. And obviously Saint has shown with LYON just what we thought, even when he was on Dig and prior to that on D+ Kia Challengers. And even Zinni at the time, somebody that I think is better than Loki as well. But regardless, we see APA here. Obviously, a lot of games played. Loki played at the LCK. He played a couple games remote in Nordic League, so take that for what you will. Similar numbers here, though. Damage numbers very different. APA, a lot more aggressive, finding opportunities to deal damage. I mean, this is piss poor low. Not offering a super crazy amount of damage, which is okay because Thanatos in top lane needs to play carries, in my opinion. So this is a problem, though. Even against the LCK, behind 572 gold, that is rough. That is very rough. That's like, whoa. That you are spotting quite a lead here. Every game you go even, there's a game you're behind 1150 getting smoked. So that is a thing. APA not doing that great in general, behind 150 gold, but we'll see if Loki can drop that down about 420 to match APA. We see solo kills 1 every 4 games, only had a couple. Loki hasn't played a ton of games this year. Keep that in mind. But a lot of them were with Bro. Sven and Tactical. So Tactical joins the team. Obviously a player that played with Team Liquid many moons ago. I mean, okay. Okay, so Cloud9, in my opinion, Blabber is the problem, but that's not because of his domestic play. That's just because when push comes to shove and you got to put all the cards on the table, the guy struggles. So we've changed AD Carry because of that. KDA, tactical, lower level of play, did quite well. A veteran player, he should dominate that lower level of play. And if he doesn't deserve to be here. KP, obviously more involved. Sven did have the benefit of being alongside, I believe Vulcan did win the MVP, so he was again alongside the MVP support. But we see here 186, he dealt like 900 DPM. So if he does deal that for Cloud9, Cloud9 don't need Loki to deal any damage. We see share differential very high. We see vision efficiency pretty good for Sven. Maybe that's a support in him. But behind 350 XP, that can't happen with Tactical. Tactical hasn't played a ton of games this year, but he did do well in the ones he did. And most importantly, after that coaching change, I Will Dominate is the coach. Somebody that has watched the channel for quite a while. But I will say he has no coaching experience as a head coach in Tier 1. And Nero obviously had a plethora I don't, on a basis of a record, I can't say Anero is at fault. He went 10-0 in the regular season in best of threes and 0-1 in best of threes at America's Cup, which I count as playoff games, not international games, and then 5-4 in best of fives in playoffs. So that is the thing. We'll see what happens. They brought in Yamato, obviously somebody that has a ton of experience, somebody that was was seeked out to coach in the LCK, which is incredible, not something you see for Western coaches. So there is somebody to bounce things off of for Dom. In terms of LCP, Arrest and Glory, we've talked about them already before, but Arrest is officially let go. Glory is in. We saw it. I mean, if you did watch that's been occurring, I can't say I did, but I'm pretty sure these games are what Glory is, what these stats are from. KDA is whatever. Glory more involved, though. Nearly 2 out of every 3 kills instead of 3 out of every 5, which is better. Typically, Vietnamese mids do not involve themselves and then don't deal a lot of damage. They do have pop-off moments with solo kills, and this is just something that I see all the time. And this is represented here, 1.35, 1.26. We see good farm, but no damage. No damage. Sorry if that was loud in the mic. Like, no damage. That is like typical Vietnamese mids. So I think you downgraded because Glory is not giving you anything that Arrest wasn't. 28 gold ahead, minus 585. I understand that the stats are skewed because Glory just had to play those big games, right? And by big games, I mean against players that are probably better than him. But regardless, honestly, I don't even know who Gam played. I don't even fucking care. But that caused these numbers to tank. Solo kills even. Champions played Arrest. I don't know why Gam made this move. This was not the way to do it. Not to say Arrest shouldn't have been replaced, but this did not make you better. So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And hope to see you again tomorrow.